One player I think Lewis did impress and impressed everybody, one of those young players, you mentioned his name already, Trey Nyoni. Came on for Jones, a little bit of an injury, missed training, obviously Jones the day later or whatever it was. Can't keep up with it with the American times and stuff, but when he came on, I think everything sort of changed for Liverpool in the middle of the park. All of a sudden we were seeing direct balls from the base of the midfield to the attacking side of the midfield, and that was a bit different to Endo and Kurt Jones being in there together, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quicker, and I think that's what we said earlier on. People are expecting a certain style of play under Slot, a bit more direct, one touch, zippy quickie football.
Say that again.
Zippy quickie, apparently.
I like that, mate.
Zippy quickie.
Patent pending.
I feel that.
I don't think anyone's going to challenge you on that, mate.
No,
I will. What about Quickie Zippy?
Quickie Zippy.
Yeah,
like
pick which one.
You have one and you have the other.
Yeah, you can have them both. Like,
you be Zippy, I'll be Quickie.
you bloody weirdos.
That's not mention Zippy and Bungle. Fucking hell.
I'll tell you what, mate.
But he
Lewis has always been known as Zippy Quickie.
Zippy Quickie.
It's just that normally it was women.
She will be watching this as well.
That's what was written on that phone box.
But no, he looks like he's trying to force his way into plans, and I like that. When he came on last season, there was so much buzz. I can't remember exactly what game it was where he came on as a sub, but it might have been Southampton. Everyone was raving like he's this young lad. He's like the third youngest debutant in Liverpool history or something like that. He changed the way we played because it was what we associate a bit more with Slot from what everyone's been saying. You know, he was very direct. There was a certain pass he made where I think the keeper rushes out, gets a save, bounces off to the side, and then someone, I can't remember who it was, just misses it. He looks...
Gordon? Was it the Gordon one?
Was it Kate Gordon? But yeah, like he rushes out, makes a save, it goes off to someone, it just skims the far post.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Because didn't Blur go around the keeper then?
Yeah, that was the penalty thing.
There was the penalty incident, that, yeah.
And like it's nice to see that some of all these first teamers that are in this team, like Salah, Szoboszlai, Elliott, Nyoni's the one making the headlines because he is the one who stood out. He was so direct with the way he wanted to play. He was so full of energy. And it's a testament as well to the fact that pre-season, while it might not matter to a lot of these players, it is just getting back up to fitness. For him, this is his chance to grab the brass ring, and he really shined in that match in a game which people might call boring. But if it's a boring match and he's still able to perform good attacking football, he's still able to get into those positions to create chances for other players. He's got intelligence, and it's exciting to see if he's going to stick around or if he is going to go on loan somewhere like we saw with Harvey Elliott to Blackburn, where he's going to get a chance to really show off his abilities, because there's a lot of teams that could take him on loan. I think he'd shine in them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he picked the ball up, he beat a man, he ran forward, he played the ball forwards. He was just a shining light, wasn't he?
He was, mate. He was so positive, and he actively wanted the ball. Not saying like everybody else didn't want the ball. Of course they did, but there's something about like a 17-year-old lad who's coming on, wants to make an impression, especially under a new manager, and just wanting the ball and things that he did. You know, the things that he did where he's dropping the shoulder, faking one way, going the other, and just the positivity of it was really good. And again, I'm not saying no one else was positive, because they were, but just that from a lad of his age was really good. And like we said before, when we were watching the game, when he came on, it was the first time we saw direct balls through the midfield rather than going out wide, and it was just really, really nice seeing. A lot of our chances when he was on the pitch came through him. And again, that sort of ability now, showcasing that, you can look at Arne Slot and he'll be going, it's an opportunity here.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, and it might not be this season that he gets his opportunity. It might be a loan spell, because that might be what Liverpool deem is the best in his interest and our interests. But we've definitely got to play there, Steve.
Oh, we have, and I think with the youngsters, we're now starting to reap the rewards of Klopp's tenure. Because for however long he's been at the football club, he's been encouraged to be brave. And there's that word again that Klopp used time and time again. Be brave. Be, with what you do, your choices. And the line breaking, passing balls like he was doing is brave, turning, beating the man, dropping his shoulder, going past people. Because we haven't seen that. And as good as Curtis is at looking after a ball, that was very different during the game when he was on than what this lad's doing. He's trying to set up attacks and launch things, and it's really early in his career, and we should all be really, really excited about it and his developments. Really, do we go down the route of sending him out on loan and letting another manager have his sort of input in his career, or do we bring him back and do what City did with Foden, which is introduce him at key points in games where they're 3-0 up and he comes on and he contributes to the fourth goal, goes away feeling $1 million, and he grows in stature within the football club. Personally, I think that's the way to do it with him, because you're not giving him other people's bad bad
habits,
that's the word, traits and things. So but that one, it'll be really, really key, but it just looks different to what we've got in the club, and it's not the answer to where we are right now in terms of the centre midfield, but in a few years' time it could well be.
I must admit, like Jay, it's an interesting one because I'm looking at those. So I'm not drawing too many conclusions about the other two midfielders because I don't think we'll play like that. But those two as a base, to begin with, Endo and Curtis Jones, I wasn't particularly impressed, to be honest with you. In terms of how they progressed the ball forwards, I think they did all right. Endo lost the ball a few times too many, probably. Kurt Jones maybe a little bit too safe in times, but that's probably what's needed as well. But I'm trying to think of the profile of player that we've got that's not back yet. And I don't know whether I've never liked the idea of a Gravenberch playing there, but I could see a Gravenberch playing there at the same time because he's just that little bit more, I don't know, expressive maybe, or plays with a little bit more freedom, is willing to take a little bit more of a risk. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the important thing is not to put too much pressure on the kid either, because there's been plenty of times where, you know, the kid comes on in an FA Cup game and, you know, he gets...
Ben Woodburn,
yeah, absolutely. You know, you could even take Kobbie Mainoo as an example. You know, he played really well against us. His stock rised a little bit. He's in the Euro squad. Great player, don't get me wrong. But I feel a bit sorry for him because there's a heap amount of pressure for him now going into next season. I don't want that to happen to Trey. I'd rather it just be... Right, when he comes on, we go, right, he's coming on for a bit. And then you forget about him for a bit. Like what Steve said, just bring him on in those key elements and key games, because so many times you can get burnt as a player where you've got that heap of expectation on you. But if you keep showing what he's doing this pre-season, again, there's no argument if you're going to play this formation again. He's earned himself possibly a start in the next game. I would not be disappointed if he was starting the next pre-season game, because again, it's a little bit of a reward, confidence boost, and we'll just see how it goes. But the potential's there. And again, I like the way we played after he came on. No disrespect to Kurt Jones or the way Endo played, but like you said, Chris, it wasn't as positive moving forward, whereas when he came on it was, and that was really nice to see.
And it was, and Morton I think did well as well, Steve, didn't he, when he came on? Were there other players that you were particularly impressed with during the game?
I don't know really.
Maybe.
Bradley, isn't he? He's going to give you what you want, and you know, whatever the future holds with Trent, if the worst comes to the worst, it's not like we haven't got someone who can step into the breach, do it differently, but step into. I think that's the biggest compliment you can pay him. In that when Trent Trent didn't play, he didn't look out of place. It was the goal against Chelsea, for instance, brilliant. The couple of assists he got, brilliant. He just looks like a forward thinking player, a bit more of a traditional go outside and round the width type of fullback, which at times we've cried out for when we played against a low block. You want width, don't you? It's difficult. I think the young lad who came on actually changed the way we play, and for a lad of his age, that's staggering. Nyoni as a young lad goes on and actually I'm going to get hold of this ball and I'm going to dictate the way we play, and he's a baby, so bodes really, really well. Bradley's fine. It's just finding what's best for Bradley, because if as we all hope, Trent signs a new contract and like many of us hope, plays as a right back, we do away with this midfield bromance thing he's got going on with it at the moment.
I still think he could do it though.
I just prefer right back. It's just what he sees from right back.
I said this to Chris earlier. I said I'd love a world where Trent fits perfectly into the midfield and Conor Bradley's at right back, because I just think Conor Bradley is superb and you have to try and get him in there. And like I said, you're absolutely right. If we play a full season of 38 games with Trent at right back, that's obviously perfect as well. I just think there's so much that Trent could do, and we mentioned it earlier, didn't we, about what Szoboszlai was doing, what Elliott was doing. If you play in that type of formation with that box, Trent would be perfect in that situation if we were playing without any strikers. You know, heaven forbid what happened last season where we didn't have any strikers. If you play in that little box, what we saw in the game, then Trent's perfect for that situation. But you're absolutely right, mate. I think
my worry,
what a nice scenario to have both sides. 100%. You know, it's a lovely scenario either way.
It's like the Kelleher-Allison thing. Like, Kelleher is so good to be considered a backup.
You're relaxed about it, aren't you?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, oh, right. Well, Trent's got a bit of a niggle. There you go. Bradley goes inside. Yeah. No problem.
My worry would be, and we see it with Jones when we play Jones in deep positions, and Chris made the point before really safe. He'll take 2 touches and then the ball will go back to where it came from. Yeah. And suddenly all the people in advance of him are going, Christ's sake, I'll just put myself to a great position to make a run or to start a forward-thinking move. There's times when Trent's played in midfield where what you don't want him is receiving the ball with facing his own goalkeeper in midfield, and has happened to him a little bit. And I think from that position in the right back, them 70-yard searing crossfield balls to a runner on the left side, they've become sort of everyday occurrences for him, haven't they? So what I want to see is give him the biggest and best opportunity to see everything and use the array of skills he's got to find people, which I think potentially comes from a right back position. Going back to the point you made about Gravenberch, at some point someone's going to have a scrap in the middle in there, and I don't see any scrap in him. There's no dog in him at all for me. He's a big fella, but he's not difficult to knock off the ball, and I think if he's, let's say he's head-to-head with a Rodri or a Wharton or a Rice or someone like that, I think if it's a 50-50, I don't think he wins those balls. And I'm calling out specialist players in specialist positions, but they're in those teams for a reason. And I think if you were playing against Liverpool and you had an Endo and a Gravenberch, I'd be targeting Gravenberch all day long because I don't think there's any dog in the player. He's wonderful first touch, out of this world, and great in tight spaces. But I don't see him roll his sleeves up and have a fight, and at times in there you've got to do that. And McAllister's quite physical when he needs to be. Endo is too. But we've got to remember, right, all this thing about Endo, what we paid for him, he's far exceeded what we expected at that price. And as fans expected him to go and be the next world-class central defensive midfielder, that isn't going to happen. But for me, whoever goes in there and plays in there, and this is the worry with Trent, is sometimes you've got to roll his sleeves up and go, right, I always say this to you, this is a battle between you and me, Sunshine, and I'm winning it today. And if I win my battle, we win the game. And that is key when you're playing in the shape of midfield we're set out with at the weekend.